Hi, I'm Brandon Brown, I'm the transition expert with Life Cycle Transitions. Today's guest is Rose. Rose, are you with me?
Yes, I'm Rose Smith. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Rose. So, I wanted to talk to you basically about what you've been going through recently with your family, and maybe you can share some of your stories with us. What happened recently to make you reach out to Life Cycle?
Well, my dad was sick and the house was in pretty rough shape. And for his safety, that's why I reached out.
How old is your dad?
He is 89 years old.
Okay. And who all lives in the home?
Me, my dad, and my mom.
Okay. How long have you guys been in the home?
Over 40 years.
40 years, huh?
Yeah.
And, what happened with your dad recently that scared you?
He had some falls recently and he had to be put in a hospital.
Mhm. Where was the falls?
And yeah, and he, needed some rehab, and he's still in rehab right now.
Mm.
So we want the house to be a lot more accessible and, safe for him.
Okay. Did he get injured in the home? Did he fall or was
Yeah,
it
he fell on the floor, maybe about 3 times or so, due to, like, his health and the fact that his eyes he can't see really well, and, we had to call the ambulance, and they had to come and, take him to, the ER a few times.
how difficult was it for them to get access to him in the home?
It was very difficult because we had lots of clutter all over the, house where my dad was.
And when did the clutter begin?
Um, I would say maybe about 3 years ago, it just started 1 or 2 things, and then other things, like issues escalated in the house, like, um if my dad wanted things, he would say, or buy a quantity of them and things end up piling up. I'm working and I'm doing like health treatments around the clock, so I'm not wasn't able to be home to supervise some of these things and things went out of control and my house got filled with clutter and it was pretty disorganized.
Now with your mom, I mean, like, how's your mom health? How is she affected by everything in the home?
Well, she has limited functions with her breathing, allergies. I begin having allergies when I like go out to my front area, and there's carpet that's old,
Mhm.
and we have like a rodent problem, so that compounds with having mice and it's just, unhealthy and just really bad. So, my mother has asthma, and sometimes she finds it very hard to, breathe.
Okay. Has does she have any limited mobility, as well, or
Yes, she does. She can walk and everything, but sometimes she just has to take her time because she's up in age. She's not that quite young.
Mhm.
And it's really difficult at times for her to move around without being in lots of pain.
Now, aside from the injury with your father, what's his health?
Well, his health is declining, but he's still strong in his mind and everything. But at this point, he needs round the clock care,
Mhm.
and it's difficult now on my mother to take care of him.
Right. Now, it sounds like, you and your mom might be suffering from allergies. Have either of you had any allergy tests?
No, I haven't. I don't think my mother hasn't either.
Well, I would strongly recommend you doing that. That's priority 1. It's definitely meet with and schedule an appointment with an allergist to see if maybe you're allergic to the mice. I mean, when there's clutter, there's usually a great possibility for mice because they tend to burrow in a lot of those obstacles and the clothing, and it becomes a habitat for them. Aside from the clutter, what condition would you say the house is overall in terms of maintenance and so forth?
Right now,
Yes.
well, since the crew's been helping us with the clutter and organizing some things, it's been a lot better. And
Mm.
it's only been like a week or about 2 weeks or so now, and it is a lot better. It feels weird to have the place opened, but it's a better change than when it was,
Before?
before your crew came.
Okay. Now, just to for those who don't know, um, Rose contacted Life Cycle because she was going through a transition. Her father's 89, her mom's 75,
Yes.
and you're in your early 40s as well. How's your health as well?
Well, my health has been um well, I'm on dialysis and I have other problems in my health, but I'm able to still work a full-time job
Mm,
and maintain, like, I drive myself around, and I, have, a little bit of better quality of life since I've been on dialysis for doing it 3 years.
mm.
And I go after work, and then I come home at night.
How's your energy like after working a full-time shift and coming home?
Um, for the most part, it's been okay, but it's been sporadic. Like sometimes I have good days when I'm up to doing a little bit of things after work, like
Mhm.
I had to grocery shop or maybe run some errands. But I have my ups and downs, but it's been positive right now with my energy levels,
Now,
I would say.
when you early on, you mentioned that the house sort of became worse about 3 years ago. Was that right around the same time that you begin to have some health issues as well?
Yes,
Okay.
right around that time, and my mom and dad were in fairly good health.
Mhm.
Um, Not the best, but
Right.
they're aging and everything, so aging plays a role in it. But my health was I always had health problems, so it wasn't nothing. It was just stuff that snowballed into one issue became multiple issues.
Life cycle sort of encompasses and embodies that nature of how we adjust to change. Life cycle clients range from the son or daughter taking care of the affairs for their mom or dad, from a recent retiree anticipating getting their house ready for sale and all the hassles and hurdles that they're going to have to take a home that's been in the family for 30, 40 years, or to a client that maybe struggled with hoarding, and don't quite know who to call or how to call to get help. Is we're the family when the family isn't there. Whether it's just too much of a daunting task for your loved ones or yourself to handle, you contact us. We answer the call and they're definitely the solution for you. Hmm.
And it was just other things besides the home. But the home became more and more of a character in my our family more than it just is a structural dwelling.
Now tell me this about the origin of the home. I remember when we spoke earlier, you shared with me that your father had so much pride in purchasing this home. Tell me about that. When he bought the home, how did he share that experience with you?
Well, he always, when I was little, he always used to tell me that he was, fairly young. He was in his mid 30s, and he um, had a brownstone down in East Boston, and he was interested in moving to someplace else, and he had like friends of his that helped him purchase. Actually, they looked around different areas here in Mattapan,
Mhm.
and he wasn't thinking of settling in Mattapan. He never knew up here, so he liked the area,
Right.
and he decided to purchase the house I'm in.
Mhm.
And it was, you couldn't afford the price that my dad paid for the house, roughly about 30,000 to purchase. And he was very lucky, single man,
Mhm.
and he took pride and joy, and it was his first home.
Mhm.
And always wanted a big home.
Mhm. So
And
he
my
bought.
dad, he had nothing. He came up very poor,
Mhm.
and he came to America when he was a young man in the 1950s,
Mhm.
and he worked very hard to save up to buy this home.
So this house was a great deal of pride for him. I mean, it meant a
Yes, it
lot about his
was.
legacy.
Yes.
So just backing up a little bit, he bought the home 40 years ago, right?
Yes.
So 40 years ago, he bought this house and he paid about $30,000 for this house. Now, just for those who don't know exactly the description of this home, this is a three-family home.
Yes.
So it's a three-family home that is worth over $1 million today. That he paid $30,000 40 years ago. And the reason I preface that is because it has a lot to do with the decision at this point on what to go. And if the place that we're in right now, we have a home, we have three people that are living in this home. The third floor level in this home, no one's been occupying that for how long?
Over about 25 or so years.
Okay, so over 25 years, you've had that third floor apartment completely vacant, no revenue being generated for rentals or anything, right?
Yes.
You have a second floor that's being occupied by family currently, right?
Yes.
And then you, your dad, and your mom all share the first floor,
Yes.
right? And the first floor has two levels where your bedroom and bathroom is on the second level, right?
Yes.
All right. Now give me a can you describe what condition are the bathrooms and the kitchen? What condition is the home in beyond the clutter? Are the bathrooms fully functional?
Well, my bathroom isn't. The toilet isn't working,
Mhm.
but the sink and the tub is functional, but the water quality, the pipes aren't good.
Okay. So
And my parents' bathroom,
mhm,
it's um, well, the tub does work, but we don't really use it for that. But the shower and the toilet, they're functional,
mhm.
but they all need to be updated.
Right. So here's what we were up against in being able to assess the direction that makes the most sense for you. We have three adults that are living in a home, an 89-year-old, a 75-year-old, as well as you. All three of you guys are battling and overcoming your own individual health predicaments. Would you agree?
Yes.
But more importantly, more pressing at this point, your father's being 89 years old and considering that it sounded like his injury was trying to get out of the tub that he was taking a bath in when he was home, right?
It was a shower,
A shower.
actually.
Yeah, but
Yes.
it sounded like he tripped at one point, maybe?
Yes, because my shower has like a stepping platform on it,
Uh-huh.
and you have to step up in order to get out of the shower, or how this
Right.
particular shower is.
Now that's a reality that I know all too well because I'm in this space. I see a lot of elderly clients that buy this home that they love in their 30s and their 40s. They raise their kids. The kids move on. They have grandkids. Maybe they don't have grandkids, but they want to age in place like majority of my clients. They all want to stay in this home. However, in the process of doing that, they don't understand that they have to do adaptive accessible components to this home, meaning they have to install the chairlift at one point. They have to install grab bars. They have to do walk-in showers. They have to modify this home that was once built for them in a much younger version of them to suit them in their older day in their aging days as they get older and they require different needs that are more safety driven. In your case, I don't think would you agree that the house had modified for where they are at this stage in their life?
No, it hasn't.
Okay,
And
and go ahead. I'm sorry.
yes, and like you said, with aging and everything, that normally that it comes at some point.
Now, the interesting thing about modifying a home so that it's aging in place, suitable, is it's almost like you're swallowing your pride a little bit. The moment my clients say they had to get that handicap sticker, it's a little difficult for them to accept that. Or the moment they
Yeah.
get that senior citizen discount, or the moment they get their license taken from them and they can no longer drive, it's hard for all of us, to accept that we have limited functionalities as we get older and how that's going to change our life, whether you're young or you're older. I mean, you could be in your 30s and your 20s in your twilight years in your prime and you get an injury or get diagnosed with a terminal illness. And now from that day forth, you have to do things differently because of the limited capabilities of being able to do them like you once were. In this case, I saw a number of different obstacles. One, I saw an elderly gentleman that needed additional care in the home. And when I first came into the home, there was virtually nowhere to sit. There was nowhere to move around. So the idea of getting him from a skilled nursing home, which is where he's currently at, into the home was less than realistic in the condition that the home was in. Would you agree?
Yes.
So we knew we had to tackle that, which was to deal with the packing, the sorting, the organizing, purging through, 40 years of accumulated belongings for a person who's not there, and as well as for you and your mom, because the house is well lived in, but it's lived in by three people. Usually, you have to deal with maybe a couple, but when you're dealing with three, there's a different dynamic that we want to be able to adjust to, so that we make sure that everyone's belongings and everyone's things are handled and cared for and handled properly. Um, so I knew that we had to deal with the purging of all these personal items. The second thing is I knew once we got the personal items out of the way, we had to address the carpet. The carpet that I believe and everyone else believed, including your mom, was attributing to a lot of her allergies. Because see what happens with carpet is it absorbs a lot of the dust, the dirt, and all the other bacterias. Now, mice, as we said before, they carry a lot of germs and a lot of bacteria and diseases, and a lot of that is, whether it's hantavirus, whether it's MRSA, their droppings, unbeknownst to a lot of people, is that when they make those droppings, you can breathe that in, and it can make you sick. In fact, if you touch it, if they put it and go in your food, it can make you gravely sick. So they carry so many germs and so many bacteria. But once we got rid of the clutter, now we're going to be exposed to what's underneath there. And we had to deal with that, which means we wanted to get rid of the carpet. We need to get rid of the carpet, but we also need to then address the mice from a standpoint of exterminating. So we already had to know where the intrusions were, where the openings into the property, where they came in, where they went. Now it's February in Boston, and those of us who know what that's like in Boston, it means that a lot of the mice and the rats and so forth are running for shelter because they're trying to stay warm, and the temperature outside over the last couple of weeks had been in the 20s, sometimes below 20s. So we knew that was one thing that we were up against, but we also knew once we got rid of all the items, we dealt with the mice, we got rid of the carpet, we needed to put this place back together for where everyone is now, but also with an idea of where it can be in the future. Because your dad's 89, your mom's 75. At some point or another, this home is going to belong to who?
Me.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
because it was gonna belong to you, we wanted to make sure you didn't inherit a headache bigger than you can handle. So one of the things that I wanted to do is I wanted to look at everything as a whole. First, I wanted to focus on your father's care, which is what is this house gonna need to be like so that when he does get transitioned, he can get adequate care. It's not a matter of when he if he's going to need care, but when he's going to need the care. And at this point, the moment he gets discharged from the skilled nursing home, it's my assumption, and I'm almost 100% sure there's going to be some form of visitations from some home care to look over him and to make sure he's adjusting okay in the home. But
Yes.
then, but
Mhm.
then, but aside from that, you know, how do we make it so that he can get these services comfortable in the home, but he can be comfortable at this stage of his life? He's purchased this home for 40 years. He's worked his butt off. We wanted to make sure that if he was going to come home, that we wanted to make it comfortable and that it was suitable for him to age in place. So we wanted to look at all the options, and looking at all the options was option A. Here's what we were thinking. We were thinking, let's make the home adaptive, accessible component wise, where we can put the chairlift if need be, the grab bars, and all the other elements that we need to do in terms of the walk-in shower and so forth. Then we wanted to update the place because it's been in the family for over 40 years. You guys haven't done any renovations, correct?
Hardly no.
Okay. So if you were going to stay here, we were thinking, let's get the kitchen redone. Let's make this house beautiful the way you want it to be and hopefully help you fall back in love with it. And then in your case, help you personalize it so you feel more like it's your home, and because eventually it will be, you know. And then secondly, we wanted to address all the aesthetics in terms of the, you know, how do we decorate it, how do we come up with painting designs, and do things with the carpet. Once we get rid of the carpet, what do we do with the floors, and how do we make the paint palettes match where you guys are today? Because the theme and the decor before was obviously from the 60s and the 70s, so we wanted to tweak that and make some face changes. Um, so that was option A. Option A included an entire facelift, from the third floor all the way to the first and second floor, redoing all the bathrooms, redoing all the kitchens, and the whole 9 yards. Then option two was, look, you're in your 40s, your parents are older. Maybe it may be a good idea to get the house renovated and put it on the market, and maybe look for alternate living environments, but sell it for top dollar, get the house market ready, meaning that we depersonalize it, update it, renovate it, make sure it passes all the inspections, and then put this house on the market and get the highest top dollar is worth. And that'll be based on the comparable analysis that our team would have pulled and had already pulled on the houses across the street, up the block, and around the corner. And then it was option three. Option three was, let's do a home rescue and basically, yeah, get the house on the market as is. Don't do any renovations. Don't do any, updates. Let's look for an assisted living for your father and your mom. Your mom will be more independent because she's still able to function and walk and take care of herself. Your father, requiring a little bit more additional care, will fall under the guidelines for at least now of an assisted living, and then help you find an apartment and or condo or small house, and you start over fresh and live independently. Um, of the three options, which option did you decide to choose?
Um, but since, it means a lot to my dad, I want to be able to renovate the house for my parents.
So you chose option one.
Oh, yes,
Okay, and you said it meant a lot for your dad. Explain how that meant, what it meant to keep this house in the family for your father at this stage of his life.
because, he worked, most of his life, and, he beamed with pride when he came to his country over 60 years ago,
Mhm,
and he proved to me that working hard and investing in, family and what you want. He, showed me that, yes, life is short, but at the same time, there's so much attached to this house. I grew up in this house and it means a lot to me. So I don't want to just up and give up on my family right now because that's
mhm,
really not an option I see.
mhm.
So
Now
I
that
think my dad would be disappointed if I, just up and sold the house, and he'd be very. would feel he'd be very hurt if
Mhm,
I've done something like that with all these years of hard work and um how my dad used to patch everything up and he was a jack of all trades. So he really and truly took pride in everything, as being a homeowner when he was
mhm.
younger and even up until now.
Are you a daddy's girl?
Yeah,
Okay, I
pretty
can
much.
tell.
I'm the only child, so
Yeah, I could tell the way you talk about your father, you talk about him with so much love and so much compassion. That was one of the things that stood out to me is that you really wanted to stay in your father's good graces. You wanted to preserve his legacy, and like a lot of our clients, their home is something that sort of resembles their legacy in more ways than one. It tells them that they've got a piece of that American dream. Coming
yes.
here as an immigrant, not having much, all we ever want, all one would ever want and or imagine is to be able to get a house, raise your family, and be able to live your final days in your home. But unfortunately, a lot of the situations that a lot of my clients unfortunately end up in don't allow for that to occur. But your father and your mom, bless their heart, were different. They seem like they made some good decisions financially, which allowed them to be in a position to be able to choose what direction they wanted to go. And in this case, the direction to stay in the home was a choice that you wanted to make. And we at Life Cycle wanted to support you, encourage you, but also execute it from start to finish.
Yeah.
So the goal in mind at this point was we're gonna renovate that kitchen. We're gonna get those bathrooms up and going. We're gonna modify them so that they're adaptive accessible. We're gonna, get that carpet off the floor. We're gonna paint the place. We're gonna update it. We're gonna deal with the electrical, the plumbing, the whole kit and caboodle. And then we're gonna turn that third floor apartment that you have that has not been used in 20 years, and we're gonna turn that eventually into your apartment.
That would be great.
So I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. I can't say it anymore. I hear a family that takes pride in working hard and definitely preserved and accomplished the American dream. I want to get this house together for you because I think doing so is going to make the family dynamic even stronger. I want that house to be in tip top shape so that mom and dad can get all the care that they deserve because not having that house in the condition that it needs to be is going to would have affected their care. Being able to get adequate in-home care into the home under its current condition, not just for them, but unfortunately for you, if the time comes that you need additional services and additional care. We're going to be with you from the beginning to end, not just after the house is completely done, but hopefully for many many more years afterwards when you reach a point at some point or another because you don't have any siblings,
No,
no children obviously,
no.
so at some point you may get to a point where you don't want to be a landlord and you think that the house is too big for you and you'll make that decision, but you would have lived out what you wanted to occur, which was to preserve your father's wishes of keeping the
Mm,
home and passing on in this home while the home's still in the family. And that's a wonderful, wonderful gift to have, but it's an even bigger blessing to receive. So I take my hat off for you guys because you're one of the few families that I meet that have that luxury of being able to be fully empowered to make that choice.
thank
How's
you.
the technicians roles been treating you so far? It's going on 2 weeks that they've dealt with the clutter and so forth, right?
Yes, they've been like very excellent with with organizing, and if you have food items, they'll even look at expiration date and throw out if it's bad. They'll, make sure you're not consuming it.
Mhm,
But they're tackling my kitchen and they're organizing things as we speak,
mhm.
and it's been a lot better.
Perfect. So
But
So
it,
right so right now we're at the point where we're about to go into construction next week. The first level has been done. I think the only part that I think we want to focus on next is the third floor level, which I think we can move the technicians there over the next couple of days to deal with that. But I want to start getting those bathrooms demoed. get those all of the things off the floor, get that carpet. Carpet's going to be last because we got to paint, but we want to start prepping the walls, start dealing with all the things that need to be done so that the construction crew can have access to what they need to perform, or where they need to perform rather. So right now, I think temporarily we're going to be taking things to storage. So if we can't center them in the middle of the room and tarp them, then some of those other items are going to be temporarily put into an offsite storage. And because now the fun part begins, we're going to construction, renovation, and then in the next 30 days, we're going to have an entirely new home for you. Are you excited?
Yes, yes, I am.
Well,
Very excited.
Well, I'm excited as well. And, just I want to thank you in more ways than one for giving Life Cycle an opportunity to help you. But secondly, for sharing your story. It takes a lot of courage to come forth and to say, hey, this is what we're dealing with, this is what we experienced, but we need help. And we went out and pursued it. We asked for help. And because of that, I'm here to help you, and other individuals that are going to be listening into this show are going to hopefully be inspired by your courage. So thank you again for being a guest on the show. There will be an update once the project is completely done. We'll do a walkthrough so that our viewers can see the end result.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
thank you for having me as a guest today.
No, you're very welcome, Rose. Thank you so much, and I'll be in touch.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. This is another episode of the Transition Expert. If you are going through something or you're dealing with a transition of your own, feel free to give us a phone call or give us a look at our website at lifecycletransitions.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you.